Labor Day is almost here, which means NASCAR's Throwback weekend at Darlington Raceway is upon us. This year's theme is NASCAR's champions, past, present, and future. And what better NASCAR champion to honor than the boss man, the king, 7-time champ Richard Petty. We're thrilled to have Cash App on board the number 43 this weekend. As soon as the partnership was announced, work began on developing throwback concepts to integrate our partners at Cash App with a piece of NASCAR history. We were quickly reminded of the time and interesting set of circumstances landed Richard Petty in a bright green and white Chevrolet for the Coca-Cola 600.
We qualified and it was out practicing, and somehow or another crashed. Whether it was me or something that happened to the car.
He didn't just lose the car. We either had left side tires on the right or we broke a tie rod end adapter. I'm not sure what happened, but after he hit the wall, it was kind of hard to say. But it wasn't necessarily his fault. It was something that we had done wrong.
And then at that time, we didn't have backup cars. You know, we just sort of said, okay, we'll borrow a car. DK owned the car. And I think at that time he was driving the car.
Richard wanted us to really check that car over good, you know, make sure everything was tight. And you can't believe how tight all the nuts and bolts were on the car, but it didn't just been tightened over and over and over, because we'd pull car keys and see if there was any loose on the shocks or anything like that, and everything was good and tight. We didn't find nothing unsafe about the car.
Then we started race with it, and I don't really remember how we was running with the car, but it wasn't a good week for me because, you know, I was talking to Dale and stuff, and he said even after when I did have the wreck, they had to take me to the hospital. And I don't even remember that part of it.
We tried to talk Richard out of running because he was hurt pretty bad in that wreck. They took him to the field hospital, and Jerry Petty was there. And of course, when I got down there, he kept saying, "What happened?" And then I'd try to tell him, and he'd look up at me and say, "What happened?" And we told him, "You ain't got no business running." And I think his reply to me was, "I owe it to my fans," or something. But he done that a lot. That wasn't the only time, but we won't get into how many times he done it.
Back then, no matter how bad his hurts, got in the car and you know, tried to finish the thing up. And so, you know, I guess blowing the engine was a blessing at the end of the whole thing. In fact, we put our engine in the car, and so we blowed our own engine. We didn't even blow his engine. So I guess he come out on top on that.
And then we went to Riverside the next week and run, and I know he was awful sore, but we finished sixth.
Here at the museum and stuff, people send stuff in for me to sign and stuff, and we get a lot of the number 6 cars. Probably get 1 or 2 a week. And you know, I just never think anything about it. I just sign them and send them back. But it was a good throwback because it was the only time that, you know, I ever drove any other car besides the 43 car.
That's right, race fans. This year, we're throwing it back to the Kings' one-off 1986 ride at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Be sure to tune in this Sunday and cheer for me and the number 43 Cash App crew as we take on the Southern 500.